Hello, Althemists! Today we are presenting you Victoria Gabriela Wolf, a Romanian girl who is the owner and the sole crafter of Equinox jewelry. Eccentric jewelry for peculiar people, so let's check it out. You just had the launch of a new collection, and you have another one on the way. Tell me, what is the difference between different collections that you put out every now and then?
The style and the theme, of course. I like creating both gothic pieces and fantasy pieces that are kind of on this elvish theme and this nature fantasy kind of thing, and I like creating both dark things and sparkly stuff that are girly and not so dark. Now I just finished a collection that was gothic themed. It had a lot of Victorian influence, many chokers, and now I'm going to work on a collection that is more towards the elven fantasy world. That's something you would kind of find in a Lord of the Rings movie.
How do you decide what theme are you going to work on for your next collection? Is it depending on your mood that you're currently in, or you're trying to follow certain trends or ideas of what might be popular at the moment?
I kind of do whatever I want. I mean, if I feel like I want to do a gothic collection, I'm gonna do a gothic one. If I feel like I want to do a fantasy one, I'm gonna do a fantasy one. I always try to change them. I mean, I'm not going to have two gothic in a row or two fantasy collections in a row. They're always going to change. I always try to respect like a certain idea, because in some collections I like to create like a story around the pieces. For example, I have the Fawn collection. I've already had like 2 editions because I had the first edition, it was really successful and people wanted more, so that's, for example, a collection where I actually give more personality to the pieces. I make a whole kind of story around them. And for the gothic pieces, they're mostly for the aesthetics and for the prettiness. They're not exactly that not exactly so deep.
How did you start with this? I mean, making jewelry is not really something you wake up in the morning and you say like, oh, today I'm gonna start making jewelry. So how did you get into this?
This whole dream traces back to a very long time ago, since when I was little, because I always kept looking at artworks, be it drawings, photographs, and I would look at the props, I would look at the jewelry, the headpieces, the clothing and stuff like that, and something inside me went like, oh, I want to do this stuff too. So I started making, jewelry. First I started making for myself or for photo shoots. Then I started making more because I liked doing it, and now I'm here where I still like doing it, but I make even larger volumes, and it's not just a simple hobby anymore.
I understand the desire, but how did you learn the skills and the craft of how to do these, especially since you have very high quality pieces that you put out?
A lot of trial and error. I think that's the only way to do it. I didn't have any kind of tutorials. I just tried very many different things, and along the way I saw what works and what doesn't. You need to be very creative, you need to improvise a lot. All my work is based on improvisation. You always have to see what works.
Do you ever repeat your collections or the pieces that were like the best sellers in the past?
Yes, of course. I have certain themes, I recreate them, and I recreate bestsellers, so to say, but I always include new models and new designs. For example, this was the 3rd edition of I called it Gothic Adornments. I had certain pieces that people really liked in the past, but I also made my new ideas and my new designs. So that's how all my collections go. They're a part newcomers and a part bestsellers.
Besides running your own store, you're also into photography and modeling. Is this just a hobby or something that you want to pursue more seriously in the future?
Well, for me, photography kind of goes hand in hand with my jewelry business because although I do product photography, I kind of try to do it as aesthetically pleasing as possible. I mean, I buy props, I buy stones and crystals or flowers or stuff like that, so I can integrate my jewelry in a scenery, so I can do something that's not just a necklace that's thrown on the table and photographed. I like to put them inside a certain background that, in my opinion, matches the design of the jewelry. So, of course, photography really means a lot to me because I had to learn basic photography. I would like to do even more. I mean, I would like to do portrait photography or fashion photography, and I do have that planned for the future. And I also kind of plan to model more. I don't know how that's gonna work out, but I have certain ideas, I have certain plans, but I need a little more time to set up the ideas.
How did you get involved with goth and fantasy scene? I mean, with the skill set you have, you could have been making more mainstream things and hence more money or whatever, but you chose to stay on this, let's say, darker side of jewel crafting. How come?
First of all, my natural liking to it. I mean, I genuinely like this kind of things. I can only create jewelry or photographs or drawings or anything that I actually like. When I started, I did have, the option to create common things. People were like, oh, but you're going to sell this better. And I was like, I don't care if they would sell better. I want to do the things that I like, that I would wear. If people like them, fine. And if they don't, well, fine again. Luckily, they did like them.
Do you have any plans to expand your shop to wider international audiences outside of Europe and especially outside of Romania?
Right now I am actually slowly but steadily looking to expand internationally because I think it's any artist's desire to become known for his work and to make his work known to as much people as possible. With the help of social media and other people, I really hope to accomplish that. I do want to, I want to send my jewelry in as many places as possible.
For the end, your favorite band?
Oh, my favorite band is Tool because they have, for me, the most perfect combination between sound and lyrics, voice and instrumental, and I didn't find absolutely any band that would top it from this perspective.
Stay crafty, stay creative, and share your skills, ideas, and talents on althemy.com with the like-minded people. And of course, it's summer, so don't forget the sunscreen.